Ryan, I have to ask, how does the McMakin clan usually celebrate their Independence Day over there in Colorado?
Well, the neighborhood has like a parade that the kids do just around the block. It's just the spontaneous, non-official thing that people do. And so they decorate their bikes. You go to the Dollar Tree. This kind of goes to the commercialization thing you were talking about. You go to the Dollar Tree and everything's labeled patriotic if it has stars and stripes on it. So you get you get eyeglasses that have those shade things. Those things that look like Venetian blinds over your eyes. And that's labeled patriotic sunglasses. And so you wear those. And then, of course, you get red, white, and blue crepe paper and all that sort of thing. So it has that element, right, of just silliness. But, of course, I always make sure, they roll their eyes, but I always make sure and wish the kids happy Secession Day and ask them what they're going to smuggle today and what other federal laws they plan on breaking today, because that is an important aspect of it, right? And I've gotten pushback because I focused on the fact that this was during the Trump era, too, when all these right-wingers suddenly found their love of tariffs and trade controls, pointing out that the American Revolution was very much about shirking British regulations on trade. It was about smuggling rum and molasses. It was about just going to rural locations where there were no government agents so you could sneak stuff off of boats and then trade it in the cities. And so just total disregard for the central government's laws was a deep part of the American Revolution. And the fact that we have conservatives now thinking that, yes, you should lock people in cages for trying to import goods that the federal government does not approve of is pretty bizarre and alarming, really, especially since these people claim to be pro-freedom. And then at the same time, of course, just disregarding federal taxes. I mean, we pay federal taxes for prudential reasons, right? You can choose to make a point by not paying your taxes, or you can go to prison. And since I like spending time with my children, I pay my taxes for prudential reasons. But the idea that they have some sort of moral authority and that I'm bound by some sort of religious part of my life or something to pay those taxes, it means nothing. And the revolutionaries are right about that. But what I found is that they'll often come back with this nonsensical argument about how, well, the American Revolution was only okay because they had taxation without representation. But now we are represented in Congress, so you're not allowed to resist or complain about federal taxes at all. I mean, let's look at that in pragmatic terms. There's a multimillionaire somewhere who's never met you, who couldn't care less about you, who probably regards you as garbage, somewhere in Washington who, quote unquote, represents you. And the ratio on that is about one member of Congress per 600,000 Americans within each congressional district. And so the idea that some rich guy thousands of miles away voted for a tax increase means that, yep, all those principles behind the American Revolution, they're now null and void, and we're now only allowed to celebrate the secession of the American colonies in an abstract sort of historical way. That was something important that those people from long ago did. And that was nice and everything, but it has really their secession movement has no relevance to the modern world. That's, of course, completely wrong. I mean, the principles that were important in the 1770s are just as valid today on a moral level. Now, it may not be prudent to start a war over that, but on a moral level, it hasn't changed at all.